so glad to see you, that you're back to see my show, Growth Factor. I'm Amalia, and today on my show, we have Patricia Daly. She is a nutritional therapist, author, and change maker. Patricia, if you don't mind sharing with us your health journey and how you healed yourself.
Yeah, hi Amalia. So nice to meet you, and thank you so much for having me on your show. So yeah, my health journey actually started quite a while ago in 2008 when I was 28 years old, and completely out of the blue, I was diagnosed with ocular melanoma. It was a large tumor in the right eye sitting on the choroid. And the reason why we actually even saw that something was wrong was that I temporarily lost my vision. I was playing on the trampoline with my nephew and niece, did handstands, and I completely lost my vision. And the reason for this was that the retina got detached by the tumor. So things happened fairly quickly then. I had to go over to the UK. So I was based in Ireland. Then already I'm originally from Switzerland, had just moved to Ireland 8 months before and had to go over then to the UK for treatment. First, I had plaque radiotherapy, which means that you get radioactive plaque stitched to the back of the eye. And then you're basically stuck in hospital for 4 or 5 days. And then afterwards you have another operation to remove the plaque. And that worked really well. My tumor shrank incredibly quickly. Everybody was delighted. And I did, though, ask my oncologist, so what can I do now? Is there anything, because it's a bit odd to have cancer at the age of 28, huge shock. And I'm sure I just have to completely change my life now. And he was, no, just, take it easy for 2-3 weeks. And then you just go back to work and you go back to your old life. And I think that was the answer that really rattled me, because to me, in just my complete naivety and common sense, but that just can't possibly be the answer. I assume I have to change something. Of course, I had a genetic predisposition, 3 of my grandparents, but in older age, in their 70s, they had cancer. And for me, it was just at the age of 28, and I was always fairly healthy, and I was a semi-professional triathlete. I was always super active. So I then decided to take a bit of control of my health and started studying nutrition, made a lot of changes, quite sort of the general changes that I see a lot of clients when they come to me. Lots of vegetables, lots of whole grains, really taking the food pyramid to a new level, cutting out most fats, and choosing, you name it, reducing animal proteins. And not even 2 years later, I got pregnant as well. And then when my daughter was about 5 months old, I had a relapse. So actually on the day I was due back to work after maternity leave, I was back in the surgery and had to have markers inserted into the back of my eye to get proton beam radiotherapy. So off we went again, the whole shebang. Really good response, went really well, but they also saw that I had now a tumor outside of the eye, about pea-size tumor. And they said, okay, we just watch and wait. And again, the tumor inside the eye responded really, really well. And it was it's almost funny looking back, almost like clockwork. Every 2 years, sort of a Swiss clock, there was tumor activity again. They weren't quite sure what was going on. And they said, okay, let's just try Avastin, which is an angiogenesis inhibitor. And that would have been injections into the eye. And I was sort of, hang on, we've tried, and I responded well, but there must be something else driving that tumor growth, something that I can probably figure out. And I had read about metabolic therapies, about ketogenic diets. I read the papers. There wasn't much literature out there at the time, but the mechanisms made a lot of sense to me. And so I asked my consultant, can I please try this? And I had asked him already before, the year before, and he said no at the time. And then in 2012, he said, okay, off you go, do your thing. And I give you a few weeks. We monitor very closely what's happening with the eye. And that's what I did. And probably also what saved me was that I was still feeding my second child. And he was 8 months old at the time. And I asked, you know, what's the story with angiogenesis inhibitors when I'm trying to grow a baby here? I mean, the baby obviously grows a lot of blood vessels. And they said, oh, look, it should be fine. And I was like, okay, nah, that's not enough for me. Should is not in my vocabulary when it comes to my baby. So that's when for me, it was a no-brainer. They said, okay, otherwise we can always just remove the eye. And it was okay, fair enough. And yeah, that was basically the start of, you know, since now 2012. That's what I've been doing, obviously in a very dynamic way. I didn't just implement keto and then sat back. It's really a constant tweaking. It's constant learning. It's evolving. It's really like peeling the layers of an onion. Okay, what else can we optimize? What else can I look at in my life that doesn't resonate, that, you know, isn't really conducive to good health? And so that's really my big mission as well, to bring that. I guess it's an attitude, it's a certain worldview as well, or whatever you want to call it, that it's not just a quick fix that I'm looking for. I know this is going to be, yeah, just my work, my inner work, whatever you want to call it, for the rest of my life. And I think that's ultimately, when you have a chronic disease, that's where it comes down to. And it's a huge roller coaster. I've had my hiccups and along the way, like, you know, making mistakes also especially with the eye. It's so sensitive. Lifting too many weights, and then I had a hemorrhage, for instance. And yeah, just learning. And ultimately, I always say to my clients as well, you know, it is learning. And of course we are making mistakes, but it's just not dwelling and moving on. And of course I've been lucky as well that I probably hit the nail on its head with what I did. But that's also because I trust also my intuition to some extent, and I take the science on board, but then I really match it with, okay, is that really for me? Because science is obviously always a big average of a lot of people, and that's not necessarily always applying to me. So it's really that merging of art and science and inner wisdom that I really love doing, and teaching as well.
Well, thank you for sharing your story, Patricia. I know you're helping so many people, and I'm going to link everything in the description as well as the comments for everyone who wants to reach out to Patricia for help. And you help so many with so many different disease and situations. So thank you for the work that you do, and thank you for being here. And thank you everyone who's watching. I really hope you share this interview with Patricia, and of course hit the subscribe button and the alert so that you can see the next interviews. And I hope we do that. Maybe call it patient advocacy, or advocating for yourself. Maybe we could do that in the future.
Yeah, that would be brilliant. Yeah, definitely. It was lovely to meet you. Thanks so much for having me. Yeah.
Thank you everyone for being here.
Bye everyone. Bye.